Super Frankie Lampard, Frank Lampard is back as Chelsea gaffer. He's the interim manager till the end of the season, and more importantly, the owners have got exactly what they wanted. A PR message that is going to generate clicks, that is going to generate them good publicity, and more importantly, that's going to buy them time before they can get the next man through the door, because their original plan of Graham Potter has exploded. But I'm here with a harsh truth. I'm here with 4 main reasons what we need to take away from this appointment from Frank Lampard's press conference and what I think is going to happen in the next 2 months. We need to be objective, we need to be realistic and not go with emotion. Yes, we're fans and we love this club, but if you love something, you can't act in a hurry because it's emotionally satisfying. Sometimes you need to take a step back, think about the outcomes, and then move forward. And this is what we're going to do on this channel today. Let's get into it. Welcome to the Kavkas View. But one thing I need to get from all of you now, before we move on, is the support. I want you to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and in the comments below, let me know. Are you happy that Frank Lampard's back, even on an interim basis? How do you feel about this move? Good, bad, ugly, sad? Let me know, all right? But now, let's break this down. Frank Lampard was already a manager in 3 roles: Derby, Chelsea, and Everton. His rate at Derby was decent. He moved to Chelsea where he had a 52% win rate. This 52% win rate was comprised from 84 games. He won 44 of them, drew 17, and lost 23. By Chelsea standards, is not the best, but you know what? By Graham Potter standards, he's fantastic. Purely based on what we saw from Graham Potter, the 32% win rate, 52 seems unbelievable. I don't think at this moment in time, looking at Derby and Everton is a realistic thing. It's just the way teams set up against the Derby and an Everton is completely different to the way teams will set up against the Chelsea. The quality of players, the level of football they operate with. Yes, Everton is in the Premier League, but Everton it parks the bus and hits teams on the break. And more importantly, I think there are a lot of mitigating circumstances at Everton that we're not just going to get into. One of the biggest ones is he had genuinely no Calvert-Lewin. Like the whole time, he had to play Mopé or Demarai Gray as a number 9. And that's not acceptable. But let's go to the 4 main takeaways that we have got from this appointment. Frank Lampard is back and the feel-good factor around the fan base is a lot higher. It has really enhanced. Look, one thing I've learned about Chelsea fans and fans in general, we're passion merchants, right? If you hear the right things, you'll get gassed up. You'll convince yourself that this is great. People have already forgotten why we sacked Frank Lampard in the first place as a manager and how he was out of his depth. But now they've convinced themselves that, oh, remember, we got top 4 without Eden Hazard in embargoed year. Oh, but it's Frank, he's coming in for 2 weeks, 2 months, we're gonna just get the best out of it. And this press conference showed it. He sat there with a smile on his face, and more importantly, he just glowed with optimism. He glowed with confidence that he can turn this around. Frank Lampard is an amazing professional in the sense that he got the best out of his ability, he got the best out of his footballing career, and now he's trying to translate it across to his managerial career. Whether it's going to work or not, it's something that we need to be realistic about, and we just need to be patient and see. But the board did exactly what they wanted. They got the passion merchant fans to forgive him for hiring Potter and staying like as loyal as they were to him. And Frank Lampard has got exactly what he wanted, and that's another opportunity. An opportunity to prove himself that he's good enough at this level and potentially secure this job in the long run. That's my biggest worry, I can't lie. Thing number 2 that we took away from this is the board is buying their time. I think the board have learned from their mistakes, right? They really came in with an arrogance about them. I think they came in with, we're going to throw some money at this situation and we're going to fix it. Whether anyone likes it or not, our money is going to fix all our problems. But they've realized one thing: money doesn't solve all problems, especially when you're just throwing money around with no logic. And the reality is, they sacked Thomas Tuchel and hired Graham Potter in a very hastily manner. And when you look back at Graham Potter's success rate prior to Chelsea, you ask yourself a question: what did he do to ever deserve the job? Like, yes, he had a good stint at Brighton where he finished 9th, but what did he do? So the board now are taking a step back and they're trying to have a rigorous process to get the next manager. I've covered that in the last video, if you're interested, the managers that they're going after, the pros and cons, and more importantly, the latest news. Nothing's changed in the last 24 hours. So if you've enjoyed knowing what's going on with the club, the last video I posted is perfect. Go, I'll pin it at the end of the video. Make sure you go and watch it. It'll really keep you guys up to date with what's going on. And the club is literally going to be holding these meetings all the way now till the end. They've hosted Enrique and Nagelsmann apparently already, and now they're trying to go to the next phase, a second interview almost. Number 3 is the club have not given up on this season, in the sense that they have accepted that they're not going to get European football through the season. And when I say European football, I am talking about Champions. I am not sitting here talking about Conference League. If anything, I don't want Conference League. I don't want us nowhere near Conference League. I don't want us nowhere near in and around Conference League. Chelsea actively want to secure the Champions League. They want to go after the Champions League, and the way they believe they're going to do it is the players. They believe they need somebody that comes in with a feel-good factor, and the players will get themselves up for the games themselves. They believe they just need someone that will basically be a caretaker, put their arms around the players, and the players will get them, lift themselves up, and the performances will carry them through. I think this is the biggest load of nonsense I've ever heard. At the top level, the manager is integral. The manager is meant to be the deciding factor. The manager is meant to be the piece that arrays the jigsaw to the point where you can finish it. We are going to come short in the Champions League. I am telling you now. And the reason I believe this is because Frank's going to go up against Carlo Ancelotti. And if he goes past Carlo Ancelotti, he's going to go up against Pep Guardiola or Thomas Tuchel. And then if he gets to the final, it's most probably a Spalletti or the Benfica manager, I don't know who it is, or Inzaghi or Pioli. The experience level in this man has been illustrated that he's not good enough at the biggest occasion. He is not. The last time he played in the Champions League, or managed in the Champions League group stage, outside the group stage game, was against Bayern. We lost 7-1 on aggregate. He will get outclassed again. The owners are showing their naivety by believing, in my opinion, that vibes and player quality will get him through this phase. I want us to go through, but I am really worried that we are not going to. Point number 4. I think there is a section of the fan base that wants him to stay past the next 2 months. And this blows my mind. Frank Lampard wants to stay. You could see it by his press conference. He does not view this as a 2-month job. He views this as an audition. And we've got 9 Premier League games and potentially 2 on top of the Champions League. He believes this is the right time for us to actively go and try to win stuff. He believes if we go on a run, he can throw his net hat in the ring. He believes he's good enough to be the next Chelsea manager. Fans have already started the nonsense of, if you're in the Champions League, Frank's got to get the job. If we do this, Frank's got to get... It's Frank. It's super Frank. You can't think like that. Look, you can't give the job to someone based on a span of 14 games. We've done it with Di Matteo in the past, and it's come back to bite our ass. It really hurt us. It's wasted time, it's a wasted transfer window, and it's just a wasted season. Because you're going to end up sacking him. You really are. He is tactically not developed enough to be Chelsea manager. I hate to repeat this because I love the player. It's nothing personal. I love the player. I've said this many times. But the manager and the player are 2 different entities. Honestly, you can go back to my videos of when he got sacked and that run up to him getting sacked. I'm basically repeating what I've said before. It doesn't work like that. The ownership group, I hope they know what they're doing, because the fan pressure on them to give the job to Frank Lampard, even if we get to the semi-final of the Champions League, is going to be something that they've never faced before. And if he doesn't get the job and you give it to a Nagelsmann or an Enrique, a big section of the fan base is not going to be happy. I promise you now, and this is not going to end well. They have opened a can of worms that they don't know how to close. This was the Kavkas View. I hope you lot enjoyed this video. I am worried. As a Chelsea fan, I'm very, very worried at what the future for our club is at this moment. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and let's see you guys for the review after the Wolves game. Frank Lampard's second debut as a manager. Let's go.